will start with some brief introduction. It's going to be a very interesting panel, if you ask me. So we have here Mr. Bogdan Cretu. He's a digital marketing specialist at CoinZilla. We have Erez Ben-Kiki, and I'm sorry if I mangled your name. I will do my best. He's founder and CEO at 2Key Network. Melanie Mohr, CEO at VOM Protocol, and Chris Zaknun from DaoMaker, and last but not least, sorry, CEO at Ubex, Mr. Chestnov. So I would love to start with, let's say, as an icebreaker, but is something that is on everybody's mind nowadays. How is the current COVID-19 crisis changing the digital marketing industry? This is an open question. You can pick it up in which order you want. Just feel free to take up the mic.
We'll start.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, I will give a bit of insight from our position. We are in programmatic industry, so we see quite well how the backside of the advertisement is developing. And to be honest, not much is changing if you look at on total. What is changing is a shift between the verticals. Yes, because definitely the vertical of, for example, real estate went down significantly. No one is advertising real estate because no one can go and buy physically. At the same time, the vertical of, for example, online gaming or online education went through the roof. Yes, it went significantly up. But in total, not much difference. So some companies that were focused on very specific vertical, they struggled. Like MediaMass, maybe you know that they're filing for bankruptcy now. That's one of the largest companies in the industry. Yeah, it was in use, I believe, of beginning of this week. But they're very, very narrowly focused. The ones who act everywhere are quite well. But in general, according to AIB, to our association, sales went down by around 30%. That's true. In our even increased the volumes of our sales because we are much more focused on blockchain and gaming industry.
Does anyone else want to answer this one?
Sure. Continuing on the previous statement, I believe that this current crisis also sort of forced businesses to shift their attention from the offline to the online, because some of them may have been reluctant to do this, to actually perform this this upgrade, so to speak. And according, for example, to research by Quantum and Mortar type of businesses had an actual growth rate of 52% compared to the one from last year, and they have also seen a 8.8% increase in conversion rates, again compared to last year. So we are seeing here a shifting in shoppers' mentality from offline and traditional methods to online. And personally, for us at CoinZilla, we also observed an increase in advertisers' budgets on spending, and actually their whole campaigns, advertising campaigns, have been increased and upscaled during this period.
I feel that both Bogdan and Artem raised the ball for me because the next question is aimed straight at you, Bogdan. So in talking about verticals and talking about, let's say, the particularities of doing marketing in the blockchain industry, how does the marketer sees the evolution of the blockchain industry? Do you think is it a recession? Are projects more matured? What has it changed in this field, this specific vertical?
So personally, I believe that projects are in a maturity period. I don't think there has been a recession, to be honest, especially because if we take, for example, the banking industry, in the beginning, when blockchain technology started emerging, the banking sector actually saw blockchain as a threat, and now they are slowly integrating their blockchain technology into the financial system. For example, there have been numerous banks such as Bank of America, JP Morgan, Bank of China, Bank of England, who started looking and investing into blockchain technology and are currently actually trying to integrate it into their business model. And at the same time, the blockchain technology helps businesses and banks, especially, upscale their business model because it provides the AML and know your customer procedures, which promote transparency and help background checks for businesses.
Okay, this kind of, let's say, discussion about the way the blockchain is stopped being a niche and starts becoming mainstream is something very relevant nowadays. And the next question would be, from my part, I would love to have an answer from you, Mr. Erez Ben-Kiki. The blockchain it used to be a self-contained ecosystem that interacted only briefly with the rest of the internet through classical means, but and this relates more to what you are doing. Do you think the decentralized structure of the blockchain can be used to modify the actual structure of the internet itself?
Well, I think that decentralization is still in its early steps. And even though it's in its early steps, we will find out eventually that most of the people around the world, especially people coming from democratic countries, they don't care much about decentralization as we thought and we wish to. We see it ourselves with our product. We've been building the product to be a decentralized product for many years. And eventually we found out that in many cases it becomes an obstacle. People don't like to pay the gas fees in order to deploy smart contracts or wait a long time. They just want functional products. And I think there's going to be a thin line between decentralization to centralization. Eventually, if you want to get mass adoption, we need to bring good products to the market, and this what will bring mass adoption. And just later, the decentralization will come in place. And I just want to add one more small thing about the first question about the COVID-19. I agree with Bogdan. I think that eventually it will do very good for the online marketing. There's a huge shift of budgets from offline to online, and it's going to stay like that. It's just going to grow.
It makes perfect sense. A lot of industries and a lot of verticals have been forced to adapt and go into online. You touched very interesting points about how decentralization might be relevant as long as is reflected in the user experience, and if that user experience is simple and easy enough. And I think here is very interesting to talk about DAOs, because DAOs are, let's say, they're functional, and there are DAOs working and providing real services and real ways of dealing with a large ecosystem. And my next question would be for Chris Zaknun. Do you think that advertising will be, let's say, impacted, or it will have some particularities in the area of DAOs? Do you think DAOs would compete among themselves to attract user and resources? How do you think DAOs as an emerging phenomenon will have an impact on digital marketing?
Mm-hmm. So when you say DAOs will start competing with each other, you have to define the timeline. Currently, we do have DAOs in crypto. There's MakerDAO. There's every blockchain that has a community and holding coins is a DAO essentially, and they're competing with each other right now. You can consider Binance. Everybody who's holding Binance tokens has an incentive to grow the Binance token. They are on Twitter, right? They are Ripple. There's a Ripple army posting on Twitter, shilling each other. As soon as you attack them, they attack back. So the sales is becoming more towards human psychology, and we're becoming very tribal, because what tokens and blockchain enabled is to give micro equity essentially to thousands of people. And now if we have a system where a blockchain has some cash flow, digital, marketing is about sales is about revenue, and that revenue needs to go back to the equity shareholders. Now the beautiful thing about crypto is we can make hundreds, thousands, millions of shareholders with no cost essentially, because the blockchain takes over. So what a DAO is in terms of digital marketing is essentially everybody who holds a tiny bit of tokens can do their part in social media digital marketing, because it's very easy. It's a bit like when you have Uber, anybody who has a driving license and a car can become an Uber driver. And I think that we will see more and more ads going away from Facebook, you paying Facebook, you paying Google, to you're gonna just give revenue share to your own token, and your token holders will digital ad yourself to their friends, and because it's in their own interest.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. I mean, the way we're looking at social structure themselves might change in the next future, because blockchain, as we know it, is rewriting even the social contract. And on this part, on this very interesting topic of how we might use in novel ways what blockchain empowers us to do, my next question would be for Ms. Mohr. Do you think that, and I was very interested in the approach of one protocol, do you think that your approach that you're using to monetize word of mouth puts a face on advertising and empowers real recommendation? Do you think this is the future for digital advertising?
I would say for digital marketing, there will be still many, many ways, but for advertising as we know it, I think word of mouth is going to get a bigger part in that segment, in this market where 335 billion are spent every year. And I mean, it's the oldest marketing on planet Earth. Yeah, word of mouth, people recommending products to each other, and it's the most efficient one. I think there is no doubt that more than 50% of all purchase decisions have their base in word of mouth recommendations, in me sending a WhatsApp message to a friend with a restaurant recommendation, and my friend is booking a table. That's how it works. And so that's where we put us in place and said, we need to figure out a solution that is an infrastructure technology that can be implemented on all social networks and all e-commerce platforms and all messaging platforms, and delivers a solution for these creators, for the people who are recommending products, to monetize and get the value out of what they are giving to all the advertisers and all the brands. And at the same time, it needs to be something that every platform feels comfortable integrating. I mean, a Facebook wouldn't integrate something when someone else is making money out of them. So this is where the DAO is coming in place. And I have to say, I mean, we are having a true decentralized approach, and we are aiming for the transformation into a DAO. But I have to say, I haven't seen many DAOs today. I mean, there is still the Oracle situation that needs to be solved. You know, how can we really generate a trustless situation and trust data that is coming from all these digital platforms? How can I, you know, really trust? We know all this, there are so many click farms out there. There are influencers pumping their reach, you know, with fake likes and fake views, and all this stuff is happening out there. There's a whole industry of ad fraud protection technology out there that will need to be converted into oracles. And I think there are some like Chainlink trying to solve it in a way and help products like ours to get this done and get this transformation into a DAO. But I see a great future for the gig economy. It's not only, you know, the marketing space, but the gig economy. People want to monetize. They slowly, I mean, we see now with COVID-19 how many jobs were lost. Yeah.
And in the end,
sorry, this is the solution. Yeah.
In the end, is the same value that you're sharing. I mean, the concept on which your protocol is based is trust, which is the underlying idea and value behind blockchain itself and behind DAOs. But when we're talking about, let's say, networks of people, and this might not be the direct, let's say, implication of what and I'm looking at you this time, Erez, what you guys are doing. But I have a question here based on, let's say, your activity. It's about a specific type of marketing, which it had a bad reputation for a long time, but in reality is just as valid as any type of marketing, and that is network-based marketing. Might be just one level or might be multi-level marketing. Do you see this kind of network-based marketing having a comeback with blockchain communities?
First of all, I just want to say I am totally agree with what Selma said, because I really think that anyone that wants to do marketing and blockchain must put the monetization to the hands of the users. Mm-hmm. This is the whole promise behind blockchain, and this is the only way this will work with marketing. In Tuki case, unlike multi-level marketing, what we've been building is a referral marketing. In referral marketing and with our technology, with the Tuki protocol, what it does is rewarding referral chains, meaning only when there is a convergence, only when you reach the goal in the end, only the specific chain of people that lead to this event are being compensated, getting a reward for it. Unlike a multi-level, where the people on the top getting more than the people on the bottom, and you get for all the people after you. The second point is we push the incentives, and this is before we are building our own AI incentive model, which we're going to build, planning on building next year. We are pushing to give the biggest rewards to the last people in the chain. So unlike multi-level, eventually in our case is the last person, the one that bring the conversion. Doesn't matter if it's a donation or if it's a click, will get the biggest reward. And it's really, I think we are going to see in the next few months the first companies in the space starting bringing companies from the old world, from the Web 2 world into blockchain, just because they have a better product and better solutions, and they know how to better distribute the money with their users.
And now I have, because the time is quite short, I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. I'm trying to keep them general, so whoever wants to pick them up, feel free to do so. Digital marketing in the blockchain context has been, let's say, presented in the past few years as like a way to market your project if you want to raise some financing. This was, let's say, like the go-to approach that most of people thought about when they thought about digital marketing in the blockchain, let's say, context. So a lot of projects have changed in the approach has changed in the past few years. How do you think the, let's say, funding models are still relevant? Do you think ICO are still a thing, or IEOs are irrelevant? How do you see the future of using digital marketing to raise financing?
I think there is a very interesting approach currently by also a wonderful project called Laxo Network. They are doing an RICO. And I think it's still, everyone said, oh, ICOs are over, then everyone shifted into IEOs, then we figured out, wow, IEOs are also mainly a marketing tool, they are not really a fundraising tool. And I think there is a relevance to ICOs. Yeah, it is a relevance to bring this product already early stage to its potential customers. But the way it was executed in 2017 and 18, I mean, there were no doubt many shady ways to get and burn the money of not yet knowledgeable enough retail investors. And I think that had to stop. And now we have to redefine it. But the RICO is something where you unlock the funds, you know, in a way when you can deliver products and can deliver a go-to-market strategy and can deliver a proof of concept. And really, you need to deliver as a company. You cannot just take the funds and burn them and say, ciao, goodbye. And I think that is the maturing part, but I still see a great relevance, and to get it out of the hands of the traditional investment, early stage investment companies. I think that's the beauty. That's the beauty of blockchain technology, and that we can do it, but we need to do it right.
True. I would have one last question, and this one is for you, Artem. There is a very interesting, let's say, apparent, split between two trends that are going side by side, and they might look like they're fighting against each other in a way. On one side, we have users valuing their privacy and that data a lot more, which makes a lot of sense. And on the other side, we have companies trying to target their customers better. Do you think there's an equilibrium? Do you think that an equilibrium will be reached between these apparent diverging evolutions?
Yeah, Adrian, first, I don't believe that there is any conflict between these two.
Okay.
These two, you know, when you know the topic, you understand that it's all living together really well. We are So Ubex is a programmatic system that is very simple for use for retail advertisers. So it's one window approach where you can launch it really fast through several networks easily. It has all the functionality of programmatic, and it's very well suitable as well because of additional functionality that is there. Why have I said it? Because we have lots of data. Every second, every day, we're getting several terabytes of data. It's not just small amount, it's huge amount of data. We have more than 200 different parameters about every single user, about every single IP. We are processing it. We're using our algorithms for better targeting there, for better selection. And to be honest with you, all the measures to limit the data, the personal data, they are non-efficient. That's point number one. And point number two, it's not about what data is available, it's all about how do you use the data. Today, we have too much data about people. Yes, some people believe that their personal data is in danger or something. Frankly, we know so much about people that it's a task about extracting some value from that data fast enough. For example, in our case, we have several milliseconds to make a decision whether to target on that specific person or to participate in an auction to show ads to that particular client or not. And process all the data we have about the person, about all the history and everything, and gives the answer. And it's not an easy task, much more complicated than the task of getting some personal data.
So basically, let's say the core advantage, the main idea is to have smart usage of data, not just a lot of data, which might infringe on personal data.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. Also, all this personal data, anyway, in our case, we never use data that is really personal. It's always unrelated to specific person. That's the requirement of Google. If we would not follow that requirement, we wouldn't be able to be the exclusive partner. Yes, all clean and white players on the market, and it's okay. It's perfectly okay. Even when cookies will be not allowed in a year and a half time, it will still be okay.
Thank you very much for your answer. I think we have time for only one answer from the last question that I have prepared for today. It's like a more broad, open answer question. Which do you think are the main challenges that the digital marketing industry will be facing in the blockchain niche in the next few years?
Growth of blockchain industry. No, really. The market is like this. It's too small. It's extremely small.
Let's think about how it will evolve and which are going to be the main challenges for the digital marketing industry in the blockchain space.
I think it's really about getting it to the people because it's still in just in our industry, I'm also seeing this duality on the one hand, especially when you have a token already issued and out there in the wild on the exchanges, you have all the traders that are handling and the speculators in this field, while at the same time you're building a product and you want to bring it to the right people, to the right customers who might have not yet an understanding of blockchain, tokens, earning. Does it mean something? Is it valuable? And so I see, that you have to handle both. Like a ladder, you have to step up. On the one hand, you have the crypto market, and which needs a special form of marketing. And on the other hand, you have your real products, customers, organic demand on the long run. And to manage both marketing and messaging to the both parts in the right way, I think that's the biggest challenge for all of us.
Thank you very much. And unfortunately, the time is off for our panel. It was a pleasure to have you here with us, even digitally. Thank you very much for being with us. And I hope our viewers learned a lot about digital marketing in the blockchain or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you for hosting us, Adrian.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.